Well, hello!
Oh, God.
Hello!
And
What
here
the acolyte?
I thought I was all ready for this, and I wasn't. Oh, God.
Well, hello! I'm sorry. Let's switch this audio avatar. I'm not saying who that is. Apparently, there's a thing on YouTube where you can't pretend to have somebody saying something. I think they're talking about deep fakes.
Yes, that's exactly right.
That was not Grace Randolph. That was just me being fun. She's been in the news lately for whatever reason. I guess because of the acolyte.
Yes. Oh, she had a really stupid shit take early on, and now it looks like she's trying to back off from that because she's just been ripped apart by her regular supporters,
Yeah.
not just people that usually troll her.
I
Oh,
remember when she bashed the Super Mario Brothers movie and thought it was going to bomb and all this.
yeah,
And in her defense, she has the right not to like the movie. Okay,
right.
But it's just
But you know what? Here's
it was
the other
just a
thing
bad
too.
call.
There is something to be said for reading the room, knowing your audience, and maybe hedging your bets, right? I look at some of the channels that I really respect a lot, and I love. They're kind of tongue in cheek about it, but they'll be like, "Well, we're not trying to disparage anyone. You can like whatever you want to like, but we're just giving you the numbers." And it's like, "Yep, I see where you're going with that. Touche. Good on you, mate." Because who can come back and give them grief about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But she hasn't learned yet. And as long as shills keep propping her up, she'll just keep shilling the shill.
For instance, I'm not going to try to make stuff up to suit my agenda. For instance, I will talk about this more next week, but I have a suspicion Inside Out is doing very well.
Yeah,
Inside Out 2, which is unfortunate, but I'm not going to lie about it, saying it's
yeah. And we'll get to this more later when we get to that segment, but I feel great. They finally got the message. Maybe drop the message and you might actually start making a profit. You won't make it from me because I'm still withholding my money from Disney.
I never liked the first Inside Out.
I kind of did.
It was okay if you did. I don't know.
I didn't love it as much as I loved, the Despicable Me and the Minions and all that stuff.
Well, I used to like older Pixar, like the original movies when they were coming out. They were a big deal. Like Monsters Inc. is still, I think, my favorite one, but
they all had so much heart. That's
they
why.
did, and I got what Lasseter was going for. He understood that Pixar had a certain style and a certain type of story it told. Yeah. I think that's why he got annoyed with that woman that was wanting to make that movie Brave, because I guess that was too much like a regular Disney movie.
Yeah,
that's not really like a Pixar movie. I think there was some contention there, but let's say hi to the chat. Welcome, Big Al. Thank you. I have to get with Big Al at some point. We're going to do another Robin to Sherwood rewatch. Yep. But I have to, get
Tim. Welcome.
Subscribe to BritBox. I can watch the latest season of Shetland if I do that. Shetland, one of the few BBC mystery series where I actually care about the mystery they're trying to solve. Because most of the time you zone out and like, who was killed? Why? No, it's
yeah, because
because it's all about the other stuff going on in the show, not about the mystery. Thank you, Netter.
And who likes who and all that kind of stuff.
All right. Some of you still over Deleted Scenes channel. Feel free to stay there. You can always catch us on the repeat. But it's his big birthday in a few days, right? So that's cool.
I'm just looking at David Pensack. I'm not sure how to read this. Alas, the Geeky Geezers are here to make our day. Does it upset you that we are here, or did you mean at last?
I think he saw Grace Randolph.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I don't know. I didn't know much about Grace Randolph before this all started. I just remember that she was I guess a movie critic.
A shrill shill? Wow, that's hard to say.
I don't know. She must have been on YouTube for a while, right? She must have been one of the originals, I think, because I saw pictures when she was younger. But
did she have less crazy eyes back then?
No, she looked.
She's always had crazy eyes.
I want to say she looked normal when she was younger. I'll say this. Maybe YouTube does that to you. I don't know.
maybe.
All right, let's go ahead and replace this. Then I can add the stream because we have some news topics. A very sad news topic, which we'll get to in remembrance. But I might have you feel that a little bit if you don't mind. But
Sure, yeah.
yeah. But let's get into this. Let me go ahead and get my presentation. How's your weekend going?
It's going well so far. Unfortunately, it's rapidly coming to a close, which I find sad.
But your Friday stream sounds interesting. You're having a special guest. We're going to talk about Men's Mental Health Month, which I think, especially these days, is important.
These days, we really do need to focus on mental health in this month because
Yes.
it seems like everyone that wants to co-opt it has some sort of a mental health problem.
And sometimes they show up in Doctor Who episodes. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
You saw actually, we'll have the picture of Maestro later. Never mind. Or Music Man. I don't know whoever that villain's name is. What happened, Russell T Davies? It's like what was it? You were the chosen one. You were the chosen one.
See, I think he was always like that, and he was just biding his time until he could come out.
I thought Torchwood was the series for all the weird, uncomfortable stuff.
It was handled better there.
Yeah. Geeky Geezers. Welcome, everybody, to Geeky Geezers. I'm your host, Agent Boomer. This is my co-host, PaPa Pacelli.
Hello.
Welcome, everybody spilling over. Welcome to Pensac. Welcome, FKH 2005.
Sometimes
Rimshot.
Tim,
yes. And Zetopia, welcome. Here we are.
Yep.
And welcome, Netter of Netters Network. I think I welcomed you already, but I'll welcome you again. And here we go. Look at this. Just another lovely thumbnail put together by my co-host here.
It's really just a collage.
It's good. Yeah, I noticed. I basically specified. I gave you instructions. You better put the Lollipop Chainsaw pick in the middle.
Right? I should have made it. I thought about making it bigger, but I was like,
Yeah, she comes from a family of zombies. She comes from a family of zombie slayers. I don't know if this was supposed to be like a Japanese take on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and they just made it more nuts. But I know that James Gunn helped with the writing too, even though it was a Japanese game. But
I can see this as a
weird
zombie version of Buffy. Sure.
Yeah. I heard Insight 2 is going successfui financially, to my surprise. Yeah, like I said that earlier. We will not lie to you about facts here. If I want.
Tim says,
it's not that I want to kill Disney. I just what.
Tim says, "Who's this Netters Network lady? I like the cut of her jib." Yes, I do too.
She has a wonderful show every Thursday, which I believe she's having Ryan on this week, right?
Who are you having on this week?
Alan.
Oh yeah, Alan Carter.
Oh, I'm thinking of somebody else. Okay. All right.
Yeah, no, Ryan Rodrathe is coming up in a couple weeks.
Okay.
And for you gentlemen in the audience tonight, she's a former Playboy Playmate. So
what?
if you want to tune in just to check her out.
Yeah, that is true.
Now, actually, let's not go there. I was thinking, what if she is like? She's a guest. Let's not go there. Let's be polite.
I probably have a PDF of it somewhere.
Anyway, welcome back.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. I loved this show when I was growing up. I don't know why. It was so silly. It was set in a high school, with 40-year-old high school kids, which I suppose is pretty much the CW, plan many years later, right?
What I find fascinating, I hadn't watched it in years, so I did watch a few episodes today while prepping for the a stream tonight, and it's on Tubi if you want to catch it on Tubi. Tubi has all the best stuff. You got classic Doctor Who, you got classic Doctor Who, you've got Welcome Back, Kotter. I mean, what else do you need? Is Kung Fu: The Legend Continues on there? That would be the cherry on top. That would just be.
That's the one you're waiting for.
That's the one I'm waiting for.
You're in a very small niche that's looking for that.
Nobody cares about Kung Fu: The Legend Continues. It was amazing. It had the guy that
no one cares. Not enough people know about it. See, that's the problem.
Did you know the guy that played Kreese was on Kung Fu: The Legend Continues? He played the Shadow Assassin.
That makes perfect sense to me. Yep. He was the villain in his time period. Yeah, for that kind of stuff.
But he was different than his character in Karate Kid. He was more scary and silent type. But he was Of course, I guess he's an actual martial artist in real life,
He
obviously.
is,
so,
and he's
yes.
been in a lot more martial art films than most people realize, playing everything from the villain to the hero in some movies.
Yeah. So here we go. This was a situational comedy, what we call a sitcom.
Right.
From, I believe, the early 70s, not so early, maybe 73, 74, I want to say.
Yeah, it was the first half, I think, of the 70s. If I remember correctly, see, I always wondered, who came up. I guess Gabe Kaplan himself was the primary contributor to the storylines for this show. It was all based on his stand-up routine, which of course is based on his own background at a school with a bunch of goofballs like this.
Yeah, the Sweat Hogs is what they were called to on the show, and apparently he was a sweat hog when he went to the same high school back, I guess, in the 50s, right? Is that what I got?
Right, and I think that's they did meta elements back then too. This was his way of acknowledging that all of this was based on real people from his own life. So that's where him returning to the old school to help out the sweat hogs, as they were called, the remedial students that were going to fall through the cracks if someone didn't come in. They called it remedial, back when I went to school, they were calling it the special ed. Then that got a bad connotation, but and it's a very funny show, but it's got a lot of heart too.
It has a lot of heart because, despite the fact they're all a little rough around the edges, these are basically good kids. That's how I saw it.
Oh,
do
so
they
it
get?
was
Do
the
they
second
get?
half of the 70s, 75 to 79?
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Do they get into hijinks? Yes,
Absolutely,
but they're
nothing too intense.
These are pretty smart kids, though. Epstein was talking about how his mom met Teddy Roosevelt, she was mistaken for Teddy Roosevelt back in the day. Right, it's like most kids today, including the ones probably in graduate school, would know who Teddy Roosevelt is, right? I mean, it's like
they didn't take their studies very seriously, but they also didn't do anything terribly, They weren't out to hurt anybody,
No.
They weren't like some kind of a hard-nosed gang or something like that.
Yeah. I watched an episode with Freddie Boom Boom Washington, right? And he gets on the basketball team, right?
Yes.
And that's a big deal.
But in order to stay on the team, he had to keep his grades up.
And he's like, here's the test. And he's like, I'm not going to take test. You got to pass me. I'm on the team. And he says, no, you, and then like he didn't take the test. And Mr. Kotter says, look, you can come back after school and take the test. Nope, not doing it. Then the principal shows up well, these questions are too hard. Look at this one. When was the Declaration of Independence signed or something? 1776. And he's trying to figure out how to get to Freddie, saying, you can't rely on the basketball thing. If it doesn't work out, you're going to need to back up anyway. So you want to keep your grades up. And then he decides, I used to play basketball when I was in high school. I'm going to challenge him to a match. Remember that?
Right.
And of course, Mr. Cotter's older. I think this is one where he's walking around all stiff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This is my dad had that walk. And Freddie's like, oh, come on, man. You can't. So they have the match, and Freddie beats him 20-16.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, I guess you don't get to take the test. You beat me. You won the bet. And he says, no, I'm going to take the test because the fact you got 16 points on me, that means a lot. So that commanded his respect. So he says, because you said it, now I'm going to take the test because you challenged me and you gave it your all. So it's kind of interesting. Cotter's asking him to give it his all, and he had to demonstrate it by himself giving his all.
Yeah.
If you think about it. So there's a good little lesson there.
He was literally modeling the behavior.
Yes.
And it really did get through to him. And this was the formula for the whole thing. And throughout the whole thing, it was him finding these clever ways to speak to these kids in their language. Of course, you've got the promotional shot here, and who do you have there? Just right of center there, a very, very young John Travolta. This wasn't his first role, but it was, what really shot him into stardom. This was where he, from here, he was in, the Tiger Beat magazine and Dynamite and all the other teen.
Oh, I'm sure he was
magazines
the
and
teen
whatnot.
heartthrob for all the young women out there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
did we go past
Epstein, who was played
Yeah,
by?
so this is, of course, Juan Epstein, right?
Yes.
Who liked to point out every time he would introduce himself.
Yes.
I am Juan Epstein. I am a Puerto Rican Jew. And first
Yes.
time Kotter meets him, he goes, "Let me guess, you're Jewish on your father's side." He goes, "Nope, my mother, she was Rabinowitz," which leaves you sitting there wondering, his father was Epstein and he was the Puerto Rican? Wait a minute, how does that work?
It's very funny, but that's how it is in New York City, man. You have all these different groups convalescing, and it's very much of the time. I mean, this is a fairly diverse cast you got here. See, they existed back then.
Yep.
I mean, people keep forgetting that at the time, having it was around this time you started seeing more Italian characters in movies and TV, like actual Italians, right? I think.
Yep.
Where it wasn't as where they're not being portrayed as like
and,
a gangster or something.
It was kind of important to the story that they did really kind of lean into stereotypes, right? The New York Italian stereotype, the New York Puerto Rican stereotype. Yep. In fact, he wasn't very Jewish. Only when it was required for the joke did the Jewish part come up. He was mostly Puerto Rican, right?
They said that what's the name? Horshack was buying the Nathans at the end of the episode. It was like hot dogs, and I was like, but wait a minute, Nathans I think is all beef, so that'd be kosher, right? So that'd be okay.
Right? Yeah.
Just,
yeah. There you go.
Here we go, Freddie Boom Boom Washington.
Yeah. I tell you, and the other thing too is what people don't realize about this show, really how big it was. This was one
huge.
The marketing on this was amazing. They had the lunch boxes, they had magazines, they had comic books. The Mego had the license to make the action figures.
Those were real. I saw a picture of one of those. I should have put it up. I didn't realize those were an actual thing. I thought that was a mock-up somebody did.
No.
My goodness.
Those actual. In fact, I mean, they didn't re-up the license when Mego came back, but. There was I think it was a 12-inch John Travolta figure. They called it John Travolta, but it was clearly in the style of his character from this show.
Vinnie Barbarino,
yeah.
Oh man, it's a lot of good fun.
Horshack was supposed to be Polish, right?
That's what I'm thinking, because I'm thinking what group isn't represented. I'm thinking of the big New York groups,
and
I kept thinking I thought he would have been the Jewish kid, but then you had Epstein. So who's he?
Right.
Probably Polish. You're right. Probably Polish.
And he was the closest thing you could get to a teacher's pet. He wanted to be good at he just wasn't that bright. None of these guys were, because they didn't apply themselves. I feel like Horshack kind of just wasn't bright, and he wanted to be, right? Because every time they'd ask a question, what would he do? His hand would shoot up and he'd go, call on me. And they'd call on him, and he had no clue what he was talking about. But he was eager, And
then he wouldn't have the answer, right?
Or he thought he did, and it was something goofy or whatever, and
I watched an episode where they're challenged to a debate. Because Kotter gets annoyed at the drama teacher picking on his students. And we'll get to the wife in a minute. But yeah, the drama teacher was played by James Woods and an ascot.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Yes, and they challenge him in a debate, and it's like, is aggression a natural human instinct? Are human beings naturally aggressive? And the drama teacher says, no, they aren't. And we have proof, like the Eskimos have never had a war. I guess now we would call them Inuit, but you mentioned that. And so the way the Sweat Hogs win the debate is they keep needling the other side of the debate team until the one guy is getting ready to fight him,
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that kind of proves their point, doesn't it?
In a very tangible way. It's exactly right.
And of course, we had his wife on the show as well.
Yeah. Oh gosh, what was her name? Help me out here, guys.
I don't know. I know the actress passed on a few years back, but let me see. Welcome back, Kotter. I'll look at the cast. But what I like about this show, and is I know she At least the
I
episodes
know
I've
someone's
seen.
gonna say it. Someone's gonna say it in the chat. I know.
It's like the episode begin.
Cross.
Marcia
Cross.
Strassman.
Oh.
Okay, cool.
Marcia Strassman. Yeah, she died she died 10 years ago, 2014.
Yeah, she died young. Well, 66, relatively young, I guess. Yeah, but
The character was Julie Cotter. That's right, and she
Yes.
was. Her role, I see, and unfortunately, she ended up leaving the show because she felt like she didn't have enough to do. I felt like her role was
extremely
very
important.
It was a very anchoring thing, right? Because she was at the beginning of and end of every
Yes.
episode, and she was the. I don't want to say foil isn't the right word, but she was the sounding board for his joke. He'd always start and end the show
With a joke.
with
Yes.
one of his stand-up routine
Yes.
jokes. And it was always really, really good. But she had some great bits within the shows where sometimes the kids would show up and she became like a mom to the group and whatnot. She also sometimes had to coach her husband into leaving work at work, and
Well, that's what it was. It's like
Yeah.
she was his. He had a life outside of the job, which I liked. That was
Oh my gosh, I did not know that, Tim. Apparently Groucho Marx was going to be on the show, but he was too sick.
Oh, that's too bad.
That would have been perfect because Cotter had this tendency of
Imitating
him all the
Groucho
time.
Marx.
Yeah, it was a recurring motif within the show.
It would have been funny if Groucho Marx was on there to play his dad. I don't know if his dad had already passed on the show because he always refers to his dad in certain jokes, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that would have been good. That would have been really good.
Welcome Back, Kotter was almost always on the cover of TV Guide.
It was. It really was. It was
You got a
that
Welcome Back,
popular,
Kotter lunchbox. Look at that. Lunchboxes. The lunchbox. You kids don't understand. Maybe you do. I shouldn't say you don't understand, but the lunchbox was a big deal growing up in like the 70s and the 80s. Of course, in the 80s, they were plastic lunchboxes. And did I have a lunchbox?
in the 70s, we had metal lunchboxes.
I don't know if I had a plastic one. I think I had a did I have a lunchbox? Now this is driving me nuts. I must have had a lunch. I think I was usually a brown bag kid, but I want to say at one point I had a lunchbox. Was it a Dukes of Hazzard lunchbox?
Oh,
I'm trying to remember now. I don't know.
I had a Star Wars lunchbox, and
That's a nice one.
I refused to give that thing up. Even after I clobbered Michael Garr over the head with it, and it had a big dent in one side, I refused to give that thing up.
You'll be happy to know. I think I don't know if I still have this. I might have survived the flood. I forgot what, but I had a Return of the Jedi garbage pail that was metal.
Oh, interesting.
That I think I still had on. It was a little dented, but I still have it from when I was a kid.
Cool.
Good artwork. They had like the two different big poster arts on both sides of it. It was rather neat when it came out. But I like this though because she brought him down to earth a bit, and it's I liked how
also there to support him when he was feeling like the struggle of dealing with the kids.
Yeah. What I am going to say, I do like the fact too that it shows he's a working class guy. I mean, maybe he's doing better now because he's a teacher, but they have an apartment, but it's nothing fancy. Right. Like they sleep on a couch bed together each morning. It looked like. But that's just the thing. They used to do shows about regular people back in the day. And
there were a lot of shows where you sometimes wondered, how do they live as opulently as they do, given what he does for a living and so forth. This one makes it very clear. He ain't getting rich being a teacher in New York,
But he's still doing better than he was before he was a teacher.
Exactly.
Exactly. And it's just, he didn't want to go back to that school either. It's like, I was at that school. I know how bad it is. It's like, he's stuck there. But, I'm assuming it went through all 4 years of their education. Is that what happened on this show? Oh. Did Barbarino ever leave? That's my next question.
Yeah, he eventually did leave, and they did bring in a secondary group of kids. There was actually a rival group that was like the smarter kids or whatever that were just the complete a-holes. You never liked them,
right?
Yeah. The principal here, he always wanted to expel those sweat hogs because they
Yeah,
were
like
bringing them down and stuff. And
yep, we saw what the working man did after he was done
I
for a
have
day.
that tie. Holy crap!
Yeah, I mean, the 70s fashion is interesting because everybody shows up in a suit, but they're those very fat ties.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
wide ties and wide collars. That was the thing in the 70s, yeah.
But I miss some of these shows. Like, I think just showing regular people on TV and
Yeah.
not people with houses. Like, you see these families in houses on a lot of shows, and I'm like, some of these houses no one can ever afford. Actually,
Right.
it's funny. I was watching. I remember I mentioned that show Tokyo Vice. There's a scene where I guess the Japanese cop's wife is watching TV, and she's watching, I guess, an import of the American show Full House.
Oh,
And
wow.
she's like, wow, do all Americans have houses this big? And I'm like, no, they don't.
Not all of them. But some do.
That was
Mark
an
Malikoff
inheritance.
comes in up your nose with a rubber hose. Mark, twice as far with a Hershey bar.
Oh, that's what kids used to say back in the
Yep.
day. And they were doing different jives. Like one of them says toilet face.
Yep.
You know what?
Get
I
off
feel,
my case, toilet face. That's what it was.
I feel like the insults back then were more clever than what we get now.
I agree. Yeah.
Because there's at least some thought into that, right? Like you kind of
Yep.
do a double take and you think about it when you hear that. I don't know though. I will probably continue watching Welcome Back, Kotter. We have some news for those collectors of physical media later. We may have some Welcome Back, Kotter
we'll be
news,
getting to that, absolutely.
but I feel like we brought this show up enough times. We should talk about it. But good show, good, clean, fun. That's what you used to do when you came home in prime time. You'd watch Welcome Back, Kotter. Maybe Three's Company would be on after it, or maybe that was on a different channel. I don't know, but you know, you'd have all these, and they
I
take
wanna
place around
say-
the country. Like this took place in New York, Three's Company in California.
Yeah,
I'm sure there are
I
other
feel
shows
like
took
this
place in
was
Chicago.
ABC. I'm pretty sure. This was ABC.
Yeah, it's just it's too bad. I mean, is the sitcom even a thing anymore? I know Young Sheldon, I think, was having its last episode, so I don't know. Have you been?
I have no idea. Not that I'm aware of.
I haven't been watching network TV lately, so I don't know.
Me neither.
But you didn't have to think when you saw the show. Yeah, well, you know. You just think, what was the lesson going to be? That's how
Right.
you would guess.
You would relate to these characters. Imagine that, relating to a diverse group of kids, you know, none of which probably look anything like you, and you totally could relate to their situation in life and what they're going through, you know, and so you cared about the storyline. Imagine that. Yeah, James Woods.
Like there was one episode with this one girl in the class who was known as Hotsy Totsy, right? And like she had a reputation. Do you understand? Like all the
Yes,
boys would brag
yes.
about doing something. And then she's crying one episode. Mr. Carter says, "What's wrong?" And she goes, "I'm pregnant," and she starts accusing all the boys in class, and Horshack wants to marry her. I'll be the dad. And it's like we only went out, and like he'd only been out with her like a weekend prior, right?
Right.
And he says, "Wow, Horshack, he works fast," you know, like she's
Exactly.
I'm just kidding. But
do you remember Hotsy Totsy's real first name? I don't mean the actress's name. I mean the character's name.
No.
Rosalie. It was
Rosalie.
Rosalie Totsy. Yep.
Rosalie Totsy.
Mhm.
Oh, that's interesting how they got them for that. But what I liked about that was she accusing all the guys, and none of them are fessing up, and they're all afraid. And it's like, oh, so you don't like being accused of doing something that you didn't do? Well, neither do I, because she says I'm not. You know, she's not loose. That's what she's trying to say. This is a reputation I got. That I didn't deserve.
That was a brilliant
Yes.
story. I love
Yes.
that. I love that.
Yeah. But this and All in the Family, the Jeffersons, Good Times, all good stuff. Yeah, they had some. They had most situation comedies that are
Yeah,
left
you know,
today.
I would say of
moments, yeah.
all the main characters in the shows that you just listed, you know, the Jeffersons were probably the most wealthy. And boy, was that not an example of middle America, you know, starting a business and growing it and
Yep.
growing your wealth because of it.
Yes.
You know?
It's about working hard, you know, not. And the thing is, you'd watch them go through your struggles, and maybe you'd apply it to your own life, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Most of the situation comedies that are left today are just rehashes of reboots or old ones. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
And the problem with that is it's even worse than so many other things that get rebooted because those were slice of life for the time. You can't update them. You have to start from scratch.
Why don't you
really
take
do.
a hard look at what it's like living in the United States now and base your work on that?
Well, and see, that's the
Because
problem.
they don't want to. That's why they
You
don't
have a
want to
show
take a
like
hard look.
this where Gabe Kaplan is telling stories based on his own memory from growing up. This was very true to life to him, right?
Yes.
And a lot of the writers back then were just like that. They knew people when they grew up, where they came from, and so forth. The people that are now in the Hollywood milieu, they are so cut off from the rest of America. They have no clue. All they know is their La La Land echo chamber.
It's ridiculous. Anyway, welcome back, Kotter. We'll have some more news on this coming up.
Yep. Later in the show.
Oh, but we have some sad news, yes.
We do not have what would, like a news article or anything like that. Whenever we do an in remembrance, it's usually a big name that everyone knows, and so there's articles in Variety and so on and so forth. This one doesn't, but he is incredibly important to our community. This is Mike Alonso of Clobberin Times. So what I have up here is, of course, his channel and a link to a video that was on his channel where all of his closest YouTube friends got together to honor him. He passed away last week. It's been very difficult. A lot of YouTubers that you follow have had a really hard week this week. I think I'd never heard Tom Connors cry on stream before, and it happened to him 3 times. 3 different streams. I was just talking with Michael French on Friday. He joined me to celebrate my channel, and he was saying that he was just barely holding it together because he felt he had to. For the benefit of everyone else who was over there. If you go to Clobby's channel right now, you will see the most recent videos basically saying the channel's taking a break. I do believe that his co-hosts are going to try to keep the show alive. But he was the driving force behind it. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do with it. Clobby was an encyclopedic mind of comic books, both Marvel and DC. He knew the industry, he knew the people that contributed to it. He had some very strong opinions about some of them. Some of the people that the normies want to almost deify, he knows what bastards they were, and he was not afraid to say it. He knew his DC at least as well as I did, and he knew light years more about Marvel than I'm ever going to even guess at. But yeah, that's a YouTuber, my friends, and his channel was never really that big. He was under 2,000 before he passed, and now it's like somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 people have been joining just cause. Check out that video there. I commented in the description for the video. There's a GoFundMe for his kids.
If you want to go ahead and post it here too, you may.
I could. I should have probably had that ready to go.
No, I didn't think of it either, but I should have. I'll see if I can put a pin in that. But let me get to my own channel. Am I subscribed to myself? That's the question. Or can you be subscribed to yourself?
I do see that. That's Mark D with a C is one of his sidekicks. I see he's got something planned for later tonight. So
that's good. So you can always check that out later as well.
I'm wondering if if he has the GoFundMe support. No, not here that I'm seeing. That's okay. I'll find it while
you could probably find it on the channel too if you want to go over to his site. I'm sure it's there. Yeah. But
yeah, I'm working on that right now.
No, I meant the people in the chat listening. If you know, don't worry about. I'm sorry, I should have thought of this too. But they should at least finish up the Star Trek reviews. Oh, did he do Star Trek reviews? Huh? Looks like he's on the Enterprise.
He did do Star Trek reviews. He talked about Blake 7. You know, he and I were simpatico when it came to Blake 7. I said, you know, you got to have me on sometime to talk Blake 7. But
you missed the Welcome Back Kotter retrospective, Connie Cleary. That's okay. You can always just go back.
Yeah, just rewind.
Deleted scenes. It was a big birthday stream. I was on there for a bit earlier too. Welcome, deleted scenes. We were just talking, unfortunately, about a sad death in our community. But how long had he been on YouTube for? Was it a few years?
I want to say he started in 2020, but it might have been.
A lot of us started in 2020, didn't we? Okay.
But I know he was doing stuff before I became.
There's the GoFundMe.
So,
and I'll see if I can put a pin in that. Hold on. And put a pin in it. Not put a chick in it, unless it's warranted, as in Lollipop Chainsaw, which is a kick-ass game. I think Blake 7 show could move to Mark's channel. Oh, that's interesting. They do a Blake 7 thing, huh?
Yeah, I'd love to contribute to that.
Yeah,
I don't think enough Americans know about, not only know enough about Blake 7, realize how much it contributed to some of the sci-fi you love today. Like, oh, I don't know, Firefly. Ever heard of a little show called Firefly?
I remember Firefly. Rest in peace, Clobby. Thank you. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's sad. But yeah, there's the Enterprise. Look at that.
Yep.
I used to try making Enterprise models. I used to go to this model shop and get those models put together. Yeah, I used to get those a lot. But yeah, be sure to check out his channel later tonight. Looks like they're going to be having another stream or video on him. So definitely. But rest in peace. I'm sure his contributions will be felt from years to come. But yeah. Hey,
oh, okay, Tim. Thanks. The watch parties for Blake 7 were on Mark's channel.
Oh, I see.
The review was on Clobby's channel on Thursday. See, you know, it's like that, right? You know, it's like, you know, there's going to come a day when people are going to confuse, well, what channel was Geeky Geezers on, and which one was Last Call on? I keep forgetting. Was it on Agent Boomer's channel? Was it on Troy's channel? You know, it'll be like that, and that's fine.
Yeah. 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 Rest in peace, Clobby. Yeah, thank you, Connie Cleary. All right.
But that was one of our own. If we're gonna do an in remembrance, it needs to be from our own ranks, I think.
I think so.
But
all right.
Remember when Lord of the Rings was good?
Yeah. Okay. Listen. Let me read from this article. I am not as skeptical, but we'll see.
I'll start right here and say this artwork looks damn awesome. I mean, this could go right on the shelf next to the Batchke and Rankin and Bass cartoons.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. And, you know, people forget a lot of the animators on those Rankin and Bass cartoons were Japanese animators from back in the day. Right. They obviously they would do things made to order, but and obviously it was an American production, but they helped with the animation. I think I don't want to say Miyazaki was on one of them. I don't know, but Andy Serkis brings Lord of the Rings anime movies first footage to Annecy. Andy Serkis led a panel for the Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim, as fans got to experience their first 20 minutes of the theatrical anime film at the Annecy Animation Festival. Hailing from New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers, director Kenji Kamiyama's feature is based on a short segment from J.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings and hits theaters December 13th. The film focuses on Hera, voiced by Gaia Wise, the daughter of Helm Hammerhand, voiced by Brian Cox, a notable king of Rohan, as the family attempts to protect their region from the Dunelendings. What are Dunelendings? Those goblins?
I don't know. Don't know.
The fans are going to go nuts for this. Circus, who is not directly involved in the film but recently watched it, told the crowd Tuesday as he introduced the footage. You are the first people to see this, and boy, it's an extraordinary piece of work. After the segment was well received by the audience, Circus channeled Gollum, his character from director Peter Jackson's live-action Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies. Oh, is that who that is? By quipping, there is only one word to describe a movie. I'm not going to try to do the Gollum voice, okay? There's only one word to describe a movie with Lord of the Rings and anime at the same time, and that is precious. Okay, there we go.
Yes.
Circus then introduced the project's panel, which included Kamayama, producers Philippa Boyens and Joseph Chow, and Warner's execs Jason DeMarco. Kamayama, known for directing the anime series Blade Runner Black Lotus, which I need to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I kept saying I was going to watch it back when it was on, and I didn't get around to it. I don't know if it's any good, but I'm curious now because he's doing this. Emphasized that he was the devoted fan of the Jacksons film series and saw each of the 3 movies on opening night. During the panel, the team announced that Jackson and producing partner Fran Walsh are executive producers on the animated movie. Jackson appeared via video. Let me see. Kamayama expresses appreciation for Boyan's involvement in helping lead the development of new movie's narrative. Given that she co-wrote Jackson's films, it was essential that Philippa led the story, the director said through an interpreter. So it looks like some of the same team that worked on the movies worked on this, but you also have this anime angle where the director is a Japanese animator. It said that it was originally going to be a 90-minute movie, but it ended up being 2.5 hours. Don't they all, at least? Circus quipped about the franchise's tendency for lengthier films. This is where I'm at with this. I am curious. I'm not gonna, because this, there's a lot going on here all at once. For starters, like, is this a co-production? Would I consider this a full-on anime film since it's being co-written by some people that worked on Lord of the Rings, but then you have a Japanese director? What is it exactly? Is it a hybrid, maybe? A hybrid movie? I don't know. This is getting a major release. This is not like some weird Regal one night only or 1 week only. This is supposed to be a major holiday movie.
And what if they're employing some of the animation techniques of like Ralph Bakshi, and they're doing what do you call it, like
rotoscoping
and stuff like that, motion capture and stuff like that.
They've done motion capture in some of the 3D anime I've seen. By 3D, the Appleseed movies did something called 3D live anime, where they had the actual Japanese actresses and then they painted over them with cell shading to make them look like anime characters. Right. But it was like 3D animated characters because they were cell shaded, so it was like they were still moving in a 3D computer animated space. So I don't know if they're going to try something like that or if this is going to be more traditional. Nuts in a good or a bad way? I don't know. Did I say I was nuts? What do we think?
I don't remember who said someone was nuts.
I don't know. But here we go, though. I remember when Lord of the Rings was good. Pepperidge Farm remembers. Well, here's the thing. Lord of the Rings will always be good. Don't let Amazon series and other things.
Right.
The books.
Right. It's
true. A singular work of J.R.R. Tolkien. The books are always going to be there unless they try censoring them, which I don't think they're going to plan doing. And even if they did try that, I'm sure you can find an uncensored copy. It's one of the most popular books ever written. You'll find yourself a copy.
Yeah.
Same goes for Ian Fleming's work, but there's not even any talk about censorship right now anyway, the older works. So you're always going to have the original works. You didn't have the Jackson films, and I know some purists didn't like those, but I thought they turned out rather well. So you also have those movies. So as far as I'm concerned, Lord of the Rings can't really be hurt. If they want to make 100 awful Amazon series based on Lord of the Rings, that's fine. How this movie will be, I don't know.
Right.
But I do appreciate the fact that you have another Lord of the Rings, I want to say not a TV series, but a film movie coming out, which hopefully will steal some of the thunder from the Amazon series, right?
Right.
So I don't know. It looks good. The animation looks good.
I'm very impressed, yes.
So we'll see. This is a wait and see, but I am also very curious because this is a major this is a major production. Typically, the Japanese animation has to work on a budget usually. Even some of the Ghibli movies I love, they know how to work within a budget. But I'm sure with Warner Brothers funding this, they probably got to play around with more money than they're used to. So we'll see how they stretch that dollar. I'm just curious. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But comes out this holiday season, and I think this is being sold as a major release. This is not some. I mean, I'm not saying any anime film is not a major release, but I think it's the first time I'm seeing a major studio do a push for something that was animated in Japan and actually try and fly it up on the big screen nationwide to everybody to see it once. So we'll see. I'm curious. Oh, this is back to Geek Flag. Clubby is sitting up there in heaven, shooting the breeze with Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and John Schnepp.
Yeah.
Yeah, Clobberin times. All right. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed on this one. It would be good if Tolkien fans had something to look forward to, right?
Right.
But even if you don't, you have the book. Same goes for Ian Fleming, James Bond fans. Even if every Bond movie going forward is going to be terrible, you have the old movies, you have the books.
Get the books now before they rewrite them.
They're already trying to. Oh my goodness. Box office, yay! Maybe it is a yay. I don't know. I've never watched a Bad Boys movie. I'll probably start now because I think they're at least testosterone filled. Good guys, bad guys. So maybe I should check this out.
We were talking about it over on Deleted Scenes before this, and he and Sin were basically saying that this felt like kind of a throwback to the '80s, the old buddy cop movies. And I'm like, well, that sounds good to me. Right there, you got me.
Because I am looking forward to the new Beverly Hills Cop coming out this summer. Keep my fingers crossed on that one, which is, of course, a Paramount property, and it's a Netflix exclusive because Paramount. You could have had a major theatrical release, and instead Netflix gets to rein in all the profits. And I don't understand that company. Sony's Bad Boys, Ride or Die, jolted the battered summer box office back to life with a better-than-expected domestic opening at $56 million, $104.6 million globally. Monfort puts Will Smith on the road to a career comeback 2 years after the infamous Oscar slap. I was curious about this when that slap happened because I used to always argue he was known as Mr. 4th of July years back. Remember?
Yeah.
They would release a Will Smith movie every 4th of July and they'd do gonzo box office. So. Ride or Die reuniting Smith with Martin Lawrence is the fourth outing in Sony's long-running franchise and earned an A- cinema score in North America, along generally positive reviews. Just as promising, 0.44% of the audience was between ages 18 and 34, showing Smith has a following among younger consumers. Why not just say moviegoers? Why do they got to say consumers?
I know.
Let's see here, though. Black moviegoers made up the largest quadrant of the audience with 44%. Ride or Die is arguably the first film of the summer to come in notably ahead of Tracking, which had it opening at 48 million to 50 million range. It is also the second biggest domestic launch of the season behind Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which debuted at 58 million domestically. I bet it costs a lot less to make, though. The movie's start overseas is equally promising, where it grossed 48.6 million from 60 markets, 58% ahead of Furiosa, a Mad Max saga in like-for-like markets. It collected a strong 19.3 million in Europe and set franchise records in Latin America and the Middle East. So this is what's interesting about this movie. I'm sure Sony had faith in this project, but I noticed a lot of the media people weren't talking this movie up. But if we remember, back in 2019, it was right before the pandemic happened. You had the third Bad Boys movie came out, and it did very well. And then the pandemic happened, and all the theaters shut down. And now I'm thinking this just might be a hit franchise, and maybe it always has been, and maybe we should stop selling it short. I don't know.
I think it's like every other movie that we've seen that's done really, really well. It could be mediocre, but because it's not, a woke fest, POS, hating on everybody who loves it, I don't know. So these are the numbers as of right now. 112 million international, 102 million worldwide, 214 worldwide, 102 international, 112 million domestic. Yeah, I read that backwards.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fine. It did well.
But that's 214 million. That's pretty good. I don't know what the budget is on that. Let me see if I can find out what the budget,
Let's see what the flag says, because that's how they see us as consumers. That's why they don't care what we want. They just want us to buy whatever they have to sell. Well, what I found interesting about this movie, though, this had the two directors, the Adil Arabi and Bilal Fallah. Remember them? Billed as Adil and Bilal. They directed this movie. Remember, we thought their career might be over because of the Batgirl disaster.
Right.
As that thing got shelved, they thought the Oscar slap would destroy their career. Now maybe they might have bounced back finally from that.
Okay, so they're saying that the listed or the reported production budget was 100 million. So they've already gone past double that. I would say in the next week or two, this will be, hugely successful. I mean, yeah, you could say they broke even, but they say they don't really break even until they get close to like 3 times, and anything after that's gravy. So they're getting really close. When you get that close in your first week, that's pretty good, especially these days.
Yeah. So I guess Will Smith is still a movie star. I'll say that. We weren't sure after the slap happened. Remember that years back,
Yeah.
but.
No. My understanding is, not to give too much away, but I understand this film is pretty self-referential in that regard.
Oh, that's funny.
They tongue-in-cheek kind of poke at that a bit.
What is he in trouble with his captain for slapping somebody or something?
No, I get the impression that he gets slapped a number of times in this movie.
Oh, that's funny. Well, that's you know what? Roll with it.
I don't
then.
know. I haven't seen it myself. But...
Roll with it.
Yeah.
At some point you have to forgive. I guess people make mistakes.
And yeah, he better really have a sense of humor about it if he's going to bounce back. That's the only way you can. So.
But no, good for them. I mean, at least it's Sony doing well, not another company, which we'll talk about next week. Anyway.
Right.
Actually, I'm going to try that timestamp thing again today. I meant to do that last time. We're going to get to the next article. So, what is it?
5202.
52.02 or just 02?
52:02.
:02, and then a hyphen, correct? And then the story. Which
it
next
actually
story
doesn't
is
matter
be...
what you put after the 52. Well, now you're probably want to do 52:21, 22.
Crow Reboot, because I'm taking too long.
Yeah.
It's going to be 52:30. I'll come up with a better system. All right, there we go.
Yeah.
Star of the Crow Reboot.
That's actually a very clever way to do it. That works. Yeah.
I'm going to try it tonight. I'm not going to say I'm going to do it every week. There might be a better way to do this.
What you're going to have to do is copy that down below into the description. Because, yeah, that helps.
Copy that down below into the description.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay. Right now?
No. Afterwards.
Okay.
You go back and you re-edit. Yeah.
Oh, I see. When people have the little lists of the different things. Yes. Yes, that's how it works. And I'm blathering when people hear, I clicked on the marker. We're not talking about the story. Here we are. Star of Crow Reboot. That's nice. It's its own movie.
We're Geeky Geezers. We're geezering.
Does the Crow Reboot have Crow T Robot? It might as well, from the sound of it. This is not good when your own actor is coming after it. Some really bad vibes are brewing over this one. There have been plenty of outspoken people, for one reason or another, criticizing Rupert Sanders' upcoming reboot of The Crow. Back in March, Alex Proyas, director of the original film, slammed the reboot, claiming it should have never gotten made. On Friday, a formerly attached writer...
That's what all the fans have been saying.
Yes. On Friday, a formerly attached writer on the project who saw an early cut called the film horrible and unwatchable. Now we have the actual star of the film coming out and saying he doesn't like the ending. Yes, yeah. Bill Skarsgård, who plays the titular character, is expressing his disappointment after recently watching a cut of the movie, which he claims is unsatisfying because it leaves the door open for a sequel.
These people can't help themselves.
The whole
story is meant to be standalone. Everybody who was a fan of the Crow has said you could reboot it, in quotes, by just doing another one of the Crow stories. It doesn't have to be about Eric. It could be about any of the others that
That's the idea. Once the person does it, then they go, right? And then the crow goes to somebody else, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
It's they're standalone stories about revenants who come back from the dead to avenge themselves.
This interview is quite something over Esquire. If you read between the lines, it's clear the actor isn't too excited about the finished project. Skarsgård also opens with the fact that now, 2 years after filming Wrapped, he feels a certain distance from the project and can be frank about the movie. The author of the Esquire Police, Madison Vane, goes on to mention how surprisingly candid Skarsgård is about The Crow, but refuses to divulge any of the other criticism the actors might have had about it. Vane does mention that once their conversation goes from The Crow to another upcoming film Skarsgård stars in, Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, his face visibly brightens. Yeah. Yes, because that sounds like a good movie that people want to watch, and nobody wants to watch this.
And I think you need to pay very close attention in this article to what it is he's saying. It's like he probably wants to say more, but contractually probably can't. If his biggest problem that he expresses is the fact that it leaves itself open for a sequel, he has probably expressed that behind the scenes. He has probably said it publicly previously. I think everybody knows that the nature of The Crow is that you're not supposed to have sequels using the same character.
No, you do a different story about a different person.
So he can get away with being critical in that regard without being accused of undermining, the project from a contractual point of view.
Here's the problem. This is an example of like a superhero where you can have a different actor. You know how people complain when they pass the torch in like Marvel and then it becomes a name and it's not the character. Well, that's right. How it was always set up. So you could do that.
This is even more like that than say Doctor Who.
Yes.
You say, well, they built in a way to have a new actor play it, and we're good. This one absolutely must be another person every time, and changing genders, changing, all of those kinds of things, absolutely, because it's literally not the same person from before. This isn't a reincarnation. This is another human being who dies, who is brought back as a revenant, because this is something that the Crow does, this spirit of death that grants you this blessing to do, so that you can finish your unfinished business and then go on to whatever comes after.
Wait, but why are they doing the original movie storyline when you said there have been multiple other Crows? Why not just do one of the other ones they didn't shoot and have Skarsgård as that instead of...
Absolutely right. And in fact, especially in this day and age where they always want to do, the strong female character, there was a great one with a female Crow that they should do.
Yeah.
That the fans have all wanted done. That would be just heartbreaking and we would love. But no, they want to chew the same ground they've already done and do it worse and dishonor someone who literally died making the damn movie. It was perfect. Leave it alone. You never remake perfection.
I'm beginning to believe all of these reboots mean Hollywood is out of talented ideas. I'm tired of it. I don't know what's happening here. And he's a good actor, too, this Skarsgård. I think he...
Yeah, he is.
I just...
Again, this is not us ripping
he's in Boy
on
Kills
the
World. Is that
themselves.
the... Yeah. Wasn't he in that Boy Kills World movie that came out a couple months ago that I heard was good?
I'm sorry, I don't know about that one.
I've seen commercials for it because I think it's coming to like streaming. But it looked good. Sam Raimi was involved in it. It's about a future where people are executed live on TV by breakfast cereal mascots. That was part of at least that's one of the things.
Are you?
It looked funny.
That sounds just bizarre enough to be something I'd be interested in.
And I think he lost his voice, so the voice he got to pick and graft onto himself is like from a Street Fighter game. The tough. It's just
that is kind of. Oh my God.
It looks a little zany. Is that the name of the movie? It was a good deleted scenes. I may have to check it out. But I think Skarsgård was in that. And obviously he can do action movies, but it sounds like he's not too pleased with this movie. And I've noticed too, like a lot of these actors now, when they're in these awful super movies, they're not lying about it. You had Dakota Johnson, Madam Web. I think she's basically just that was
Look,
she fired her agent.
I think yes. These actors are getting to the point where they're no longer going to toe the company line because they have a career after this, and they're going, you know what? This was bullshit. I am not going to do another role like this again, and screw you. I am not promoting this piece of shit you made me do.
Oh, this is interesting. James Labar wrote a Crow story. He wanted the next movie to be about where the Crow was a bride who was betrayed on her wedding day and come back. Then he wrote this before I guess Kill Bill came out. Interesting.
That's interesting. And now I that would make I see that.
You could probably do it now because there's been enough time since Kill Bill. I mean, but
yeah, there was one.
Okay.
And help me out, Nate, because I don't have that Clobberin Times level of memory for these comic book stories, but there was one where a girl gets killed, a pregnant woman gets killed by some street gang or something like that, and she dies and the baby dies, and she comes back and just F's them the F up.
Yeah.
That's the one that I think most of the fans were going, yeah, do that one.
Boy Kills World is his brother. Are the Skarsgårds the new Baldwin family? Maybe. But all right. But yeah, that's the Crow reboot. I'm sure y'all are looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to trashing it and talking about it on Geeky Geezers when it ultimately fails.
All right. So now we're gonna go to the next article, which is I'm trying to do these stupid timestamps. Okay. 101.
Maybe drop it in the private chat. That'll make it easier for you to find later.
I'll do that in the future.
Yeah.
Okay, Lollipop. Let's just do that. There we go. I'll edit it later.
Lollipop,
and I spelled Lollipop wrong, so this is a fail. Anyway, here we are. I can edit the thing later.
You can edit it when you copy and paste it. Yeah.
There we go. Lollipop Chainsaw. Lollipop's a hard to spell word. I know I'm hearing crickets.
Yeah, especially when you're looking at this visual and you're kind of distracted. I understand.
Lollipop Chainsaw is back. This, I think, is potentially good news. After being delayed over a year, Lollipop Chainsaw RePop, the remake of the 2012 hack and slash game, will be released September 25th for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Developed by Dragama Games, Lollipop Chainsaw RePop follows Juliet Starling, a high school cheerleader and descendant of a family of zombie hunters, as she and the disembodied head of her boyfriend fight off the zombie apocalypse with her trusty chainsaw. While RePop won't see the return of its original director or writer duo, Gocha Suda51 Suda. Oh, that makes sense. I thought this was a Suda51 game. And James Gunn. Dragama Games CEO Yoshima Yasuda assures fans that the remake will live up to fans' expectations. RePop is a definitive version of the game, which leaves the story unchanged with a focus on quality of life improvements and additional gameplay content, Yasuda wrote in a tweet. So, key among RePop's updates from the original are shortened load times and heightened resolution and frame rates. More specifically, the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, and PC versions of RePop, not RePoop, will support 4K resolution and 60 frames per second, while the Switch will support full HD resolution, that means 1080p, and 30 frames per second. Other quality of life updates include an auto quick time feature, improved camera responses, and a streamer mode for music. Lollipop Chainsaw RePop was first announced back in 2022 before being delayed from summer 2023 to 2024. In a follow-up tweet to the game's release date and trailer, Yasuda revealed that players will have over 30 outfits to fashion Juliet and RePop. While all the original game's costumes will be available in RePop, Juliet's copyrighted ensembles like her Dead Man Wonderland and High School of the Dead anime costumes won't be coming along for the ride. Darn it!
Well, at least
I think there was even a Sailor Moon costume you could purchase or unlock.
Yeah, and they can obviously say those are proprietary. They don't have rights to do that.
Yeah, too bad. But they'll give her new costumes to make up for it. I want to make a point, though. I've read other articles on this. It's not coming up here. This is like a remaster, and I think there's a RePop mode you can play which adds sparkly stuff instead of blood like the original, but you can still play the original game on here. I
See,
don't
this
think
is
it's
an example where replacing the blood with sparklies is actually the
well. You have the option for both. Just got here. What am I looking at?
is the positive option as opposed to the negative one.
Lollipop Chainsaw re-release on modern consoles. It looks to be like a remaster rather than a full-on remake, though there are going to be some quality life ruins. They're not going to change the storyline. They heard the fan outcry when there was talk that they were going to change things, and people, so they said, "Okay, we're going to leave it as alone as much as we can." I think there won't be censorship, but we'll wait and see. The people direct, so they're not fans of doing that with old properties. So
Yeah,
keep your fingers crossed. I think this will be a good release. If you have to own a Switch, one of the newer Xboxes, or PlayStation 5 or PC.
See, I personally want, if you're going to do something and remaster it, do it exactly the way it is. And then if you want to drop some kind of DLC or something, you can do that too.
Those zombies.
Chainsaw zombies.
Oh, that's funny. What's neat about this game is too, a lot of the zombie bosses, I think they're all rock and roll themed. Like the one guy looks like a 50s throwback, like rockabilly. You know, almost like a zombie Fonzie. In fact, I think the guy on the right sort of looks like that.
Yeah, kind of.
Looks like something from Guitar Hero. It came out around the same time Guitar Hero was out. Back, I miss Guitar Hero. Everyone picked on guitar. Oh, why don't you play a real instrument? This is teaching kids to appreciate music.
I get. I'm thinking that games like that are probably harder to do these days because of the problems with licensing and copyrights these days.
Yeah, and I don't know if this had a proprietary soundtrack or not. Suda51 makes the weirdest games. That's his name, the Japanese developer. I think he made another game. What was it? Was it called Death Strand? No, that's the Kojima game. What the heck was the one he made? The main character was I guess Mexican, and in the game the character says, "I'm a Mexican, not a Mexicant." He says it once.
I love that line. Mikey the Mexican Iron Man has used that line many times.
It might be from that game. He might be familiar with
it. Probably.
I don't know if Suda51 did God Hand. It sounds like something he would have worked on. And of course, No More Heroes. He did that game series with Travis Touchdown. That was the name of the main character in those. They're really loony. They're really loony games.
Samuel Proctor is remembering playing Guitar Hero and being a beast at the song "I Hate Myself for Loving You" by Joan Jett. I love that. I love that. That was another one of the very, very few segments of South Park that I've seen where there was one of the characters was really awesome at Guitar Hero and would play Guitar Hero as if you could hear the songs and people would like hear the songs in their head when he's doing the controller or whatever.
Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that
because Guitar Hero, anyone who's ever seen it, you're not actually playing the guitar. You're playing a Simon style
kind of
four button thing, and you're trying to match it up with the, in quotes, strings on the guitar that you see on screen, and it's really neat. And of course, it's playing the song over you,
I had it on the Wii. Crap, my original Wii got destroyed in the flood, so I had a secondary Wii, but my licensed songs were on the other Wii. Yeah. I had a remix of Blue Monday for Guitar Hero. Remember Blue Monday? I had a newer version of that on there. But the songs they gave you with the disc, they gave you a lot of songs on each disc. I got the Kiss themed one. I think they had a one where Kiss were featured in it. They were like the big band. Another one with Nirvana. I think Nirvana
that was where licensing was kind of brilliant because the licensees, it's basically like they could sell their album all over again, selling it in the video game format, right?
Yeah, and what was neat was it was a I think one of them I actually came with a pre-order bonus. You got a what's the band that did Black Hole Sun?
Oh, Black Hole Sun. I see.
Open my iTunes,
I always think of Weird Al. Black Hole Sun, won't you come?
Is it Soundgarden? I don't think it's Soundgarden. Hold on, Black Hole Sun. Give me a minute. You there?
Yeah, it was some whiny preppy band. I don't remember who it was. This is what happens.
It was Soundgarden. Yes, I got a best of Soundgarden.
I don't know
CD
these
with
90s
Guitar Hero.
bands. I was too busy
You there?
getting a job and raising a family
Hello?
for crying out loud. Did you lose me? Am I muted?
I lose internet.
I can hear you. Can everybody? We need a sound check from the chat, guys. Netter
Can you hear me?
Both of us.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Okay. No, I opened up my iTunes and that messed me up. It's like the computer said, "What are you doing to me right now?" Okay. My little brother destroyed something else with the Wiimote, the TV screen on Wii Sports Golf. That was a problem when the Wii came out. People, and this was, of course, around the time that HD TVs were finally getting more popular and people were finally buying them.
Yeah.
And you see a video of someone like doing the Wii bowling and he threw the Wiimote at the TV.
I'll tell you what.
He's letting loose of the ball and he lets loose and he destroys the TV. Yes.
The only Wii that I ever got, they had one in the recreation area at the company I worked at. And I played the golf and I played the bowling. And let me tell you, I was actually pretty good at both.
The bowling was fun. In fact, I don't know. Maybe I should pick up Wii Sports for the Switch because I think they did bring it back out on the Switch.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I pick on the Wii, but there were fun times on the Wii. And I remember Guitar Hero, and you could plug the Wiimote into the Guitar Hero guitar, and it would be powered by the Wiimote on the Wii system.
Interesting.
And I would use that, and the Rock Band games were compatible with the Guitar Hero guitars. The Rock Band guitars were not compatible with the Guitar Hero. So guess who I'm going to buy? EA. I'm going to go buy the Activision guitars because they work with both. I'm not buying 2 sets of plastic guitars.
We're getting confirmation that during that little hiccup, everyone was able to hear both of us. What happened was, I think when you went to your
iTunes,
it grabbed a hold of your sound, and so you could only hear it and not everything else.
I got you. But, fun times. And now I'm missing Guitar Hero.
Yeah, see?
Now Microsoft owns Activision, so you'll never see it again.
So I think we got a future good old days going on there.
Maybe I'll talk about Guitar Hero later on. Now, let's see before we get to our next story if I can. I'm sure the chat loves this. So what do I hit? I hit the 1-2. I hit the 1-2. And what's the next story?
We're talking the Japan. China loves Japan.
China loves Japan.
Oh no, that's gonna get you shut down. You better not put it that way.
China loves anime. Let's do that.
China loves anime. Let's do it.
All right, and 0-0. Let's do that. Okay, here we are.
You're gonna have the CCP coming after you if you say China loves Japan.
Oh, please. Everyone, yes. Why are Japanese anime films enjoying outsized success in China? Now there's a full-on article about this. I did observe this a while ago. I'm like, look at all these anime movies doing well in China. Like, not... Because over here, let's face facts, anime films on the big screen, they're niche. I mean, Hayao Miyazaki's film got a regular release, The Boy and the Heron, but that's because it's Miyazaki. Most of the time, a lot of these movies, they're on special nights only. Like, Regal figured out a way to do it. They would have, like, you can watch this anime film on a special night. So, which I think is smart because it gets people to pay a little extra, plus you get to see it on the big screen. But why are Japanese anime films enjoying outsized success in China? Reminiscent of the outsized Chinese box office success once enjoyed by a certain genre of Hollywood movies, think Expendables 3, Pacific Rim, and Transformers Age of Extinction, some Japanese anime films are now earning more in China than they are in their native Japan. Last year, Suzume, pictured above, earned $117 million in China, coming in ahead of the film's $104 million total in Japan. And this year, Oscar winner The Boy and the Heron, despite its late release in China, enjoyed Middle Kingdom gross revenue of $109 million, dwarfing that of Japan, where the film was received more tepidly and earned only $57 million. The scale of the China theatrical market has occasionally thrown up other examples of outsized success. In 2016, Dan Gao earned $190 million in China compared with an already huge $77 million in India. The same year, Bad Genius earned $41 million in China compared with its $3.3 million in its native Thailand. Luc Besson's Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets grossed $62 million in China, nearly double its $36 million in France. But the volume of Japanese films entering the Middle Kingdom makes this a recurring phenomenon. Anime titles make Japanese films the second largest category of imports into China by nationality, after those from the United States. Box office tracking service Moyan calculates that 75 Japanese anime films have had a China theatrical release since the beginning of 2015. Of these, 40% have earned more than the RMB 100 million, 14 million, and 6 have gross revenues of higher 42 million. The firm calculates that some 53 of the 75 are based on some kind of intellectual property, such as TV shows, while 15 are wholly original works. So that means it's not based on a TV series or anything. It's an original film. But such exposure, let me see. All right, so hold on a minute. Starting with Taro the Dragon Boy and Astro Boy, Japanese animated TV series have enjoyed a prominent position on Chinese screens since the mid-'80s. Other series such as Slam Dunk, Doraemon, and Saint Seiya have followed. Slam Dunk is a series about high school basketball team, I believe. Okay. These conditions create a nostalgic effect for people who are children of the 80s, and their continued presence on the Chinese TV and streaming platforms also gives more recent generations deep familiarity. Such exposure, like playing a part in propelling the first Slam Dunk part of a TV to film franchise to its sensational 75.8 million all last year, and given Doraemon the movie, Nobita's Earth Symphony, the 34th film in the Doraemon franchise, a chart-topping opening this weekend at the beginning of this month. There have been 34 movies in the Doraemon franchise?
Okay.
Is that as big as Pokemon? Do you know what Doraemon is?
No, I don't.
He's a cat.
Okay.
He's like a big purple cat character. I'm not familiar with him. I got a Doraemon game on the Nintendo 64 because Blockbuster was getting rid of their imports, so I bought it on a whim. And the game starts out, and you hear in the background, Doraemon!
Wow, okay.
And I didn't understand how to play the game because it was all in Japanese. Anyway, apparently very popular in Thailand also, Doraemon. I've met some Thai people who are big on Doraemon. So I don't know if he's Japan's Garfield or what's going on there. But yeah, okay. But apparently what was interesting about this article later goes on to say that in 2000, response to claims that Japanese providers were dumping their shows on China's burgeoning TV sector and hurting Chinese production, regulators issued a clampdown on Japanese shows. When that did not have the intended effect, they issued 2 more regulations, first banishing Japanese anime from accessing primetime hours in 2008, and later on from primetime itself. When China's theatrical sector began to accelerate, Japanese animated films were allowed to be released in China's cinema. Detective Conan, The Raven Chaser, was the first in 2010, but imports were halted for 2 years, 2013-2014, due to diplomatic row over the disputed Diaoyu and Senkaku Islands, of which both Japan and China claim territory. So there's been some contention about this stuff. It goes on to say, though numerous commentators point to Japan and China's overlapping history and enduring cultural connections and similarity as further reasons for Chinese understanding and acceptance of Japanese content. Both societies are increasingly characterized by late marriage, large number of singles, dual income, no kid households, and aging population. Chinese society and Japanese society are still more traditional than, say, that of France. Their value systems are quite close, says Julian Favre, executive at Road Movies, the Chinese distributor behind both Slam Dunk and Suzumi. With Slam Dunk and films like it, they are about being in a team and winning together. This contrasts with American stories of superheroes and individual acts of valor or revenge. Favre also suggests that the field has been left open by a growing political and social differences that are emerging between China and the West, and Hollywood in particular. Isn't this interesting?
Yeah.
So what do you think? It's interesting. I've always sort of seen Japan and China, of course, have a history. And I've always seen them as not liking each other too much, but maybe on some fundamental levels they have things in common with each other. And that's why these movies are kind of hitting a chord over there. I don't know. But it also goes on, the quote says, "We haven't seen the best Marvel in recent years, and there is franchise fatigue. People have been let down by the latest incarnations of those Hollywood franchise movies." Favre says, "The people who go see movies in Chinese theaters right now, mostly between 18 and 25, they grew up in the past 10 years. They experience much less Western content in theaters." I thought Disney was trying to get all this stuff out in theaters over there.
Got me.
I don't know. But I just thought that was interesting. Any comments though? Because the Chinese cartoon sucks. Well, I'm kind of shocked that there isn't more animation production in China. I think Sue Hark made an animated movie, which I have a copy of years ago. He usually did kung fu movies in Hong Kong. He did an animated film, which looked a little different. I mean, they do. I don't know. Well, I don't know. The Chinese let's be honest with you. A lot of the Chinese content is not good right now because a certain organization keeps inserting itself into productions.
Well,
I was loving Chinese cinema back in the aughts, like when you had movies like House of Flying Daggers come out and Hero and things like that. Even Kung Fu Hustle, I was a big fan of. You ever hear of Kung Fu Hustle?
It sounds familiar. I'm drawing a blank, but yeah.
From the guy who made Shaolin Soccer.
Okay, then yeah, I have.
Do you know what Shaolin Soccer was about?
I saw it. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
It was crazy brilliant.
Can we use kung fu to play soccer better?
Exactly right.
It wasn't a bad idea. To translate, China's telling Disney Marvel, keep your LGBTQ shit ups. Well, here's the deal. I mean, these are more traditional societies, and we used to be more traditional in the West as well, but not so these days. But I finally finished Killing Vote. It left on a kind of a cliffhanger. That was a Korean drama I was watching. But even that, there's still, I don't know. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's move on. So now we are at 1:21.00.
Sure.
Academy. I'll just put that in there. All right. This is an experiment tonight. We'll see if this takes through. I will do the cut and paste later on. Academy Museum to modify exhibits on Jewish Hollywood founders amid outcry over anti-Semitism. The Hollywood Museum has vowed to modify language in its new Hollywood Land exhibit dedicated to the Jewish founders of Hollywood amid outcry labeling the exhibit anti-Semitic. We have heard the concerns from members of the Jewish community regarding some components of our expedition, Hollywood Land, Jewish founders in the making of a movie capital, the Academy Museum said on Monday in a statement obtained by IndieWire. We take these concerns seriously and are committed to making changes to the exhibition to address them. We will be implementing the first set of changes immediately. They will allow us to tell these important stories without using phrasing that may be unintentionally reinforce stereotypes. This will also help eliminate any ambiguities. In addition to these updates, we are convening an advisory group of experts from leading museums focusing on the Jewish community, civil rights, and the history of other marginalized groups to advise us on the complex questions about context and any necessary additions to the expedition's narrative. We are deeply committed to telling these important stories in an honest, respectful, and impactful way. All right, so that sounds like a bunch of word salad. Let's find out what the criticism was about. When the Academy Museum in Los Angeles first opened, it was criticized for omitting Jewish representation and the history behind some of the industry's many Jewish founders, including immigrants like Samuel Goldwyn, you know him, yep. Louis B. Mayer, I know him, among others. The Hollywood Land exhibit, in response, finally opened last month and was declared a permanent exhibit at the Academy Museum in Los Angeles. But the exhibit quickly caused outrage. Over 300 Jewish professionals in Hollywood sent an open letter to AMPAS and President Bill Kramer, decrying some of the wall text on placards as anti-Semitic, according to New York Times. The letter, which was signed by such talent as Amy Sherman Palladino, David Schwimmer, and entertainment executive Casey Wasserman, took issue with words like tyrant, oppressive, womanizer, and predator in describing individuals like Harry Cohn and Jack Warner. The signatories of the letter said it's the only section of the museum that vilifies those it purports to celebrate. While we acknowledge the value of confronting Hollywood's problematic past, the despicable double standard of the Jewish founders exhibit, blaming only the Jews for the problematic past, is unacceptable and, whether intentional or not, anti-Semitic. The letter read, we call on the Academy Museum to thoroughly redo this exhibit so that it celebrates the Jewish founders of Hollywood with the same respect and enthusiasm granted those celebrated throughout the rest of the museum. I found this interesting. Did you ever see the Sopranos episode Columbus Day? I don't know if you watched the Sopranos.
Yes, I did.
I made a point in that episode, and something clicked for me in that episode, that, of course, all the leftists and liberals were upset about Columbus Day and protesting. And I noticed that Christopher Columbus gets attacked in these very prestigious institutions, written like, to coin a phrase, waspy types attacking Columbus as the big colonial general, but they won't necessarily go after the nice Anglo-Saxons.
Right.
And that's what I'm seeing here.
Yes.
Because here's what I think happens. I'll put it to you this way. It's about going after white immigrant groups. That's how I see this. Like if you're Irish, Polish, Italian, Jewish descent, I noticed that there is a double standard. This double standard, I think, has existed. I think they were thinking nobody was going to notice this because we're so used to just bashing, white men in general in these places. They thought they could just get away with just making it about this. But that's my impression of this. Am I making myself clear on this?
Oh yeah.
I do think they were right to sign this letter. I think other groups should do the same. But let's be honest here too. With Columbus Day too, Columbus Day, of course, is the big Italian American holiday. It was like their St. Patrick's Day. That's how I always saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And someone they could take pride in, and of course then they're tearing it down. And I sometimes wonder if some of these things they said about Columbus are rather dubious anyway. So that's sort of what I got from here. I thought they were testing the waters, seeing if this is another group that this is another group they can throw in the pile of doing attacks like the other immigrant groups. But I think they found they couldn't do it this time because there was an outrage, like there used to be from like the Italian community to all these things back in the day. If this makes sense.
Yep.
Any thoughts?
I hate that we even have to have these kinds of conversations.
Yes.
I mean, especially from, let's face it, these are pretty lefty type of people.
Yeah.
That are supposed to be like so inclusive. But their inclusion is very exclusive, right? And very down their nose.
Yeah. It's a class thing. It could be a class thing. I noticed in the 1950s, let's be honest, the whole comics code, them going after the things that a lot of these censors would go after, they tended to be things like comic books. And comic books in the 50s, I think, were usually a lot of Jewish men were in charge of writing comics. And I often thought that's why that was a vilified medium. That was always my impression. But I don't know. But it sounded like they were trying to sneak something in here. And it'd be one thing if it was like equally like they're attacking other people. But they weren't. They were just singling out the Jews here, it sounds like. So, I agree with them writing the outcry, and I think they were trying to pull a fast one.
Agreed.
All right. So, let me guess. We're going to follow this up with Leguizamo, aren't we?
Yes.
Yes, we are. Okay.
It seemed like the natural progression.
Yeah, because this is another point of attacking a group.
Yep.
It's weird how you get.
It's funny that this comes right on the heels of. I was just talking with somebody about how so many DEI initiatives in hiring have been completely gutted by SCOTUS because it's illegal. You cannot discriminate based on race, color, ethnicity, gender, religious beliefs, preferences. You can't do it. Just because you think you are in the oppressed minority, you don't get to then discriminate against the people that you see as having been the oppressors in the past. It doesn't work that way. It's not how the law works.
Okay, so John Leguizamo buys full-page ad in New York Times ad asking for Emmy voters to choose non-white artists. Actor John Leguizamo has taken out a full-page ad in the New York Times to urge industry insiders voting for Emmy Awards nominees to vote for non-white artists because there isn't enough inclusion in the entertainment industry. America is better when it is inclusive. The Spawn Stars wrote, "It is more profitable. It is more creative. Let's not give up. I'm still woke. Are you?" Yeah. Please let this be the year we find. He needs
to read the room. He needs to read the room.
He's not reading the room right now.
This is way past.
Including people in the groups he supposedly supports. They're getting tired of this shit too.
Yep.
Please let this be the year we finally embrace change. Like let this be the truly find equity and see artists of color represented across not just one category, by all categories. I know you're tired of hearing the words like inclusivity and diversity treading water while you try to understand how to put actions behind these sentiments. Look no further. It's simple as that continued. There are hundreds of prolific non-white artists who deserve to be considered for awards this year, not because they are simply Black, brown, indigenous, or Asian, but because they are truly great. He wrote, exceptional artists who have achieved that greatness with a foot on their neck for far too long. Let's let this be the start of the new era, he concluded. Let us continue not to whitewash our award shows. Instead, let this year be a catalyst that inspires the next generation of minority and underrepresented artists, a generation who might finally see a reflection of themselves on that stage and think, if they can, maybe I can too. So my first impression of this, this is discrimination. You're asking voters to discriminate against another group based on their race, their purported race. This is wrong. This goes against the. I don't know how you're solving one group, one discrimination by just embracing a different kind of discrimination. I guess in his point of view.
Yeah.
I think this is ridiculous. I don't know what happened to John Leguizamo. I don't know if he's always been like this. Lately, I think
he has for as long as I've. Yeah.
He's got a real chip on his shoulders for a man who's had a career most actors would be envious of. But he seems to have an inferiority complex about this. And it's just keeping track of the ones in the chat. Okay. Yeah, the work is profitable. Just asked Disney Luke's found. They're working out for them. I don't know. I find it odd that we're here right now. This is basically him telling people be discriminatory, be bigoted against a group.
Yeah.
You know, or with the word, or and I don't know if he's going to be called out on it. I mean, we're calling out.
I think there's a lot of people calling him out. Yeah.
Just, I don't get it. I mean, I think in some ways he's saying what a lot of people behind the scenes have been thinking. Yeah. But
there's a lot of bigoted people in the industry that believe this and think that they're justified. And they don't understand that two wrongs don't make a right. You give up the moral high ground when you become the villain that you purport to be against.
Let me see. Leguizamo tagged a list of Hollywood actors and personalities who would have the right to vote in the upcoming award season, including Whoopi Goldberg, Naomi Watts, Shaquille O'Neal, Missy Elliott, and several others. He also posted a follow-up post and tagged politicians, including Senator Cory Booker and Representative Rashida Jones, and other Democrats, telling them, I had to speak out and I will continue until we have parity. Leguizamo has used his fame to push far-left Democrat policies for years, and in May even attacked financially struggling Hispanics for blaming Joe Biden for their economic downturn.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Okay. I don't have anything left to say about this. I figured we'd just give you the heads up. Isn't that sort of what the Academy is doing anyway, though, with the parody nominees anyway, though?
I guess.
I mean, this is the Emmys. I'm assuming they implemented similar things, but someone to tell him to sit his ass down.
I mean, this is the exact same thing that's totally killing these awards. So, I mean, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and do it and lose your relevance. And, yeah, exactly.
It should be based on merit and nothing else. And it's also saying that people in these groups don't have, I feel like it's saying people in these groups don't have the merit without disqualifying another group, which I also think is wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he's saying without even realizing he's saying it. You're basically saying the only way that minorities can get ahead is if they're given a handout because they're just not good enough to do it on their own. That's what he's saying. They call it the soft bigotry of low expectations.
All right. Oh, more Paramount news.
This is another, chalk this one up to another Troy was right. I called it, and here it is.
Yes. No sale. That's what I'm getting the impression of.
Exactly.
No sale. No deal Sherry Redstone ends talks on Skydance offer for Paramount Global. Yeah. No. Okay. Sherry Redstone has ended talks. Latest Paramount Global from the consortium led by Skydance and Redbird Capital, placing the future of the entertainment company into a fresh period of uncertainty. A source confirms for the Hollywood Reporter. I got to cancel my Paramount Plus. My mom's done with her NCISs. Time to kick it to the curb for a while.
Yes.
Maybe permanently, because I'm just done. Tulsa King is the only thing they have on there right now. And they don't even have a new season of it yet. A spokesperson for the Redstone Run National Amusements, which controls Paramount, stated that the company announced that they have not been able to reach mutually acceptable terms regarding the potential transaction with Skydance Media for the acquisition of a controlling stake in NAI. What does that basically mean? They were charging too much?
Well, I told you that Paramount isn't worth crap. So whatever they're asking for is going to be too much.
Redstone is now looking to sell NIA alone to another potential suitor, the Wall Street Journal reported Tuesday. But the Skydance team, which submitted the best and final offer in April, has long been betting that other suitors will eventually drop out. Skydance had secured approval for Paramount's independent board committee in a sweetened deal that would see Paramount non-voting shareholders have the option to cash out at $15 a share. It would have seen Skydance acquire Redstone's National Amusements. That's about $2 billion. National Amusements is a regional movie theater chain. However, Sumner Redstone turned it into a media behemoth by acquiring Viacom. So, I'm trying to think here. Those three... we downgraded Paramount due to the degradation of credit metrics from the accelerating decline in linear media and the shift toward a more competitive and less certain streaming model, S&P's Naveen Sommer wrote. Are they talking about Paramount Plus when they talk about the streaming model?
I guess, yeah. That's what it sounds like to me.
All right. So with the Paramount deal dead, it seems increasingly likely that it will lean into its leadership for now, unless and until a better deal is able to cross the finish line. Didn't they fire the head a few weeks back?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Buy Star Trek. No, they'll keep funding it. Discovery's finished.
Because there's been talk by different outlets about, wanting to do that, wanting to buy Star Trek without Paramount, and Paramount says no, it's the only thing we've got of any value. We've got to keep it all together. And they're all like, no, we don't want anything else you have to offer because it's completely worthless.
Well, they had Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Okay. This is back to the John Leguizamo. In closing, he's a moron. He's the same guy who made fun of Chinese people in his movies past. Well,
right.
We ignore that sort of stuff when they're on a certain side of the political aisle.
Right, because he's allowed, because he's on the left side of history.
I don't know. I mean, do you care about what happens to Paramount at this point?
I honestly don't. They need to go bankrupt. They really do.
What's your beef with Paramount, though? Is it mainly Star Trek? What they did?
It's absolutely Star Trek. They took Star Trek and destroyed it. And until all of that stuff goes into the auction heap, we're never going to see any change. So,
did you know the actor playing Kirk on Strange New Worlds? He went to the producers or the writer, says, "How do you want to play Kirk, like Shatner did?" And they said, "Just play him however you want."
Yeah. So in other words, they just don't give a crap, which totally comes through. It really is coming through.
So why even bother having Captain Kirk on the show? Why bother even having it set? Just start a new ship with a new crew.
Because these are morons that go, "Oh, this is Star Trek. We gotta put Kirk in it. Let's put a Kirk in it. Let's put a Spock in it."
People who like Kirk are going to see that it's not Kirk.
They don't care. They'll just call you istophobes for hating it.
I'm awfully tempted to say that all Fortune 500 corporations should... ...
Oh, go bankrupt? Absolutely. I agree with you, Curtis.
Yeah. Here we go. Welcome back, Kotter.
Welcome back, Kotter.
Oh, wait. I got to put the little time stamp. I'll get better at this.
It's like 130. Yeah, just do 138. 138. 00.
139.
We've been talking over that.
39, and then Kotter. I'll get better at this next week.
Mr. Kotter.
Mr. Kotter. Yes, he's coming to Blu-ray. We talked about this earlier in the stream. Sashi's here.
Hey,
Hating on
Sashi.
Asians is okay for them. Look at all they directed the anime and games. Oh,
Yeah.
I know that. Yes, definitely.
Right?
They will go after anime and stuff like that. I've noticed that.
I've actually heard some of these libtards say that Asians are white adjacent.
I know. I've heard
their
that.
words.
Remember the old days when we were all just people, we were all Americans, and we should really start looking past our backgrounds and just treat each other as fellow human beings and that whole thing. I don't know. That's what I grew up with when I went to school. That's what they were teaching us.
But when you're trying to destroy Western civilization, that won't work. They need
you have to have people fighting each other.
Absolutely.
Welcome Back Kotter fans. Just got some exciting news. Fans of Welcome Back Kotter are going to be awfully excited. Warner Brothers Discovery has announced that all the episodes of the 70s sitcom will be available for the first time on DVD on June 11th. Available for purchase online, in-store at major retailers. So this is already available now. Created by Gabe Kaplan and Alan Sachs, Welcome Back Kotter centered on a graduate of a tough Brooklyn high school who returns to teach the classroom of underachieving sweat hogs.
Yep.
So Kaplan, Marsha Strassman, John Sylvester White, Robert Hages, Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, Ron Palillo, and John Travolta starred in the series, which ran for 4 seasons on ABC from 1975 to 1979. All 95 episodes will be available on Welcome Back Kotter, the complete series. The series is also available to stream for free on Tubi, but having it on DVD will give fans a chance to have it with them forever, as it's not likely to stream forever. So what do we say? Own physical media.
Own physical media, because you never know when they're going to take it away from you.
You know what's interesting? I could see this. I don't think this would have worked in the 80s. I think they were right to end it in 79, right? Think about it.
Yeah.
I think this was definitely a 70s era series. Welcome Back Kotter was a hit when it first premiered, spawning plenty of merchandise such as lunchboxes, dolls, trading cards, comic books.
What did we say?
Novels.
Oh,
dude,
I didn't know that.
There should be a Welcome Back Kotter Choose Your Own Adventure novel. You've just arrived at the high school or whatever. You want to become a member of the Sweat Hogs.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Oh, for all I know, there was a Choose Your Own Adventure. Welcome Back Kotter. Additionally, 3 spinoffs were also considered, with short-lived Mr. T and Tina eventually being the only one ever ordered the series.
That's right, Pat Morita. Yep.
Huh. Unfortunately, it did not do well as it ran for just more than a mere 5 episodes, starring Pat Morita and Susan Blanchard. 9 episodes total were filmed, but 4 of them never aired. I wonder if those are out there somewhere.
I don't know.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Maybe I should pick this up for myself, huh? What do you think?
Absolutely. And the other thing that we need to say about Welcome Back Kotter, Epstein did not kill himself. He died of a heart attack in 2012.
Oh, right.
Sorry. I had to get that in there. That was a joke that needed to be made.
Bad. Why'd you gotta go there? Epstein.
It's a little dark, but I think
Kevin Spacey's been spilling some beans lately. But anyway, we'll get to that later. Another day.
Oh, yeah.
Troy, you are not Italian American. I am not African American. Boomer is not Boomer American.
No, you're absolutely
We're all Americans. If you saw my hair, you'd think I was Irish American. Which I
would say, yeah, that's true. I would say I'm an American of Italian descent, at least half.
We're all mutts.
We're all mutts. Exactly right.
Are we all have many heritages? Don't look at it that way. Look at it as we have many heritage. I got
no
Germany,
one's white, no one's black.
English.
We're all pretty much some variation of cream colored.
Let's be honest. Yeah, let's be blunt here. More probably than a lot of other countries out there. I'll say that. But we're always one being attacked.
We're like coffee. We run the gambit from black, well, what they call black coffee, to mocha latte.
There we go. Welcome Back, Kotter. Though that's a nice cut. That's a nice DVD cover, don't you think? Huh?
It is.
Very 70s era.
Shot. Yeah.
Anyway, you can pick that up on Amazon right now, or Walmart, or any other of your shopping needs. Amazon, ship these discs in a nice protected box so the box isn't shattered when it comes in the mail. Thank you.
Right.
Oh boy.
Even the showrunner who is tanking this show realizes that it's very likely to get scrapped.
This means it's doing very badly.
It's doing so badly he can't cover it up.
This was the time for you to come in and fix what Chibnall wrecked and not double down. But everyone these days doubles down because they hate the audience.
Yep.
They believe the media about us. But let's get into this. Doctor Who showrunner Russell T Davies admitted that the ratings for the latest Doctor Who season are not good, and even hinted that the entire show might be scrapped following the already greenlit second season. As reported by Doctor Who TV, Davies spoke with Radio Times about the show's disastrous ratings. The first episode, Church on Ruby Road, which debuted on Christmas, had an overnight viewership of 4.73 million and garnered 7.49 million after a week. The episode had the second worst debut of any Doctor and were the worst of any Christmas special. To be fair, though, you guys had gotten rid of the Christmas special, so maybe nobody knew there was going to be one.
Right, exactly.
It did not get any better from there. Space Babies, which aired in the middle of May, only had an overnight viewership of 2.6 million viewers in the United Kingdom. After a week, it reached only 4.01 million. The worst performing episode in an overnight viewership so far was the episode Boom, which had overnight viewership of 2.4 million and only hit 3.58 million after a week. However, the worst performing episode after a week was Dot and Bubble. The episode had overnight viewership of 2.12 million, but after a week it only hit 3.38 million. Do you know what I thought was interesting from what I've heard about Dot and Bubble? It almost seemed like an episode that was attacking the still existing Doctor Who fans.
Yeah.
Not the people like you and I that left. Like it was attacking all the
anyone who's
I guess
left,
wealthy
yeah,
middle class YouTuber types that are still streaming for the show. It almost looked like a chastising of them.
Yeah.
Because they're always on the computer all the time and they're secretly racist and all this other stuff. And
it's like, okay, fine, we're out too. Bye.
On top of the show doing abysmally in the United Kingdom, it's not even charted in the Nielsen charts a single week in the United States. The show airs on Disney Plus in North America. Oh, wow, it's doing poorly on Disney? It's doing worse on Disney than in the UK. And here's the problem. Disney's funding the thing.
Yep.
This is complicated, though, because then can they scrap it for a tax write-off like did with Willow because it's a BBC co-production?
I don't know.
There might be contract, because you were mentioning that, I think, right on the deleted scene stream about it being the next Willow. But I'm thinking, what if there's a stipulation in the contract that says they can't do certain things? Because I don't think they own this show. They just own North American rights to it.
That is the hardest part for any of us commentators. There's no way for us to know what's in those contracts. So we can only speculate.
So stupid. You know, I have to say, too, whoever owns whoever runs the Terry Nation estate,
yeah,
they should have pulled the Daleks out of here a while ago, unless they weren't able to.
They weren't able to. That I can speak to.
Okay.
Every time the contract is coming due, as long as they do something with the Dalek, the Doctor Who people get to keep using them.
So they did the stupid Christmas relief, children's relief for 5 seconds where Davros is no longer in a wheelchair.
Story so that they could hold on to the rights to the Daleks, yes.
I think in one of the Capaldi seasons you just see them one briefly. Why do they do nothing with the Daleks when they're so popular?
I don't know.
The writers don't like them.
A lot of the money for that has to go to the Terry Nation estate, maybe?
This doesn't make any sense. Because you can still do stuff with the Daleks. There was a whole Dalek comic book series, wasn't there? That was not even that was about a guy that would kill Daleks. He was like their most feared enemy other than the Doctor, but it was like a separate science fiction story just about the Daleks, right?
Yeah.
So they could always make that into a series and just have it separate from Doctor Who.
But I think that is owned outright by the Terry Nation.
Well, there you go.
I don't think Doctor Who people have any.
So here's my advice: if Doctor Who gets put away like it was back during the end of the McCoy era, I think the Terry Nation estate should do that other outright owned Dalek thing.
I
just
think
do that when
I
they
think
get it
they're
back from the
chomping at
BBC.
bit to do that.
Just do that. Do it for ITV. That'd be funny if they did it on ITV.
That would be funny.
ITV, which had my wonderful Prime. Anyway, Davies. Okay, but I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent here. Davies reacted to this terrible viewership, telling Public Times, "I'm very proud of it. You know, they might not be the ratings we'd love. We always want higher, but they are building over a 28-day period. Episode 1, Space Babies, is already up to 5.6
that's
million
a whole
and counting."
bunch of copium. That's a whole bunch of copium, and he knows it.
He then touted that the show was allegedly reaching younger audiences with its blatant woke propaganda. This from WW Pro, isn't it? Yeah. I was brought back into bring in a youthful audience that's been massively successful. Has it?
It's not. No, you haven't. The numbers show you haven't done it. And the marketing shows it. Nobody's buying your crap. Nobody is subscribing. Nobody is watching your damn show. So no, you haven't brought in a new audience.
I heard a rumor a while back that the David Tennant Doctor, how there are two of them now with the David Tennant rolling around, that they might end up making him the Valiard and have him be a villain now.
They might as well with the way that Tennant is treating the fans now. I honestly don't care because they've thrown the canon completely out the window. This Doctor no longer looks anything like the Doctor, that we all had all the books for and the chronologies and
Well, he's not even Gallifreyan anymore. That's part of the problem.
Oh, jeez, yeah, exactly.
They doubled down on the timeless child nonsense. Yeah. What I liked about the Time Lords is that they were an alien race. Well, it's a Doctorless Who
now, is what it is.
Yeah. Novelist and YouTuber John Eros explained that this is a cope and a lie. Now notice how he doesn't give figures for this because he's lying. People are not watching this no matter what age demographic you're on. Okay, you already said that. He added again, astronomic. He doesn't even mention, but if you got only 5.6 million over a month and you're getting your lowest ratings ever, maybe your percentages on the lower ratings are astronomical. Maybe you're getting a higher percentage than normal, but the actual numbers are very, very low. Not many people are watching, period. So this is a complete cope. Finally, Davies reveals that the show might not move forward with its second season, saying the future of the show is still up in the air. It's not getting a third season.
Yeah.
I think it's done. He'll probably write an ending for it, maybe. But that'll be it. I think that'll be it.
Yeah, just finally kill off the Doctor and be done with it, and let all of your fake imagined fans, be able to walk away too.
These comments from Davies come in wake of both Nikuta Gadwa, who plays the Doctor, and Millie Gibson, who plays his companion Ruby Sunday, hinting they would be done with the show after the first 2 seasons. Whoa, the star is done. The Doctor is done. After the first 2 seasons. It's done.
Yeah, it took him 2 seasons to completely destroy the franchise, and his work is done here.
Because he's not going
to go on to ruin something else.
I think the toy is, are we going to read that 2 seasons? That's the lowest number of any Doctor. Except for Colin Baker. Colin Baker is saying had 2 seasons. That's right.
No, what's his name?
Oh, you're right. Eccleston. Because Eccleston and Davies did not get along, and now I think I'm sympathetic to Eccleston. He probably was on the right page here.
Yeah. He's looking better in retrospect, isn't he?
This is what happens to a franchise when it's left to
ideologues.
Yeah. I don't know what keeps Star Wars going. I think it's probably going to get an infusion with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Not after the Acolyte. Not after this. I think everybody's
not after Interpretive Dance.
Filoni has lost all credibility with the fans after this.
We didn't have a Star Wars celebration this year. Did you notice that? They said it's not going to have one until next year.
No, I did not notice.
Yeah,
I have completely.
But usually they do major announcements, and they didn't have one this year because I was looking what's the major announcement. They didn't have one this year, so I was wondering, well, what's going on?
I think it's a major announcement just to say we're going to continue with anything Star Wars related. It's crazy.
But let's see here. Okay, he had no plans after second season. Doctor, no idea, no plan. I just know I'm loving it, and my job for it is growing. And my love for it is growing. So
Great.
yeah.
So retire and start writing fan fiction. You're done. Walk away.
Well, so Davies had previously indicated that he was already working on a third season and had plans for fourth. He told SFX magazine Video Games Radar, "I'm planning season 3 now. There's plans for season 4." But this was a while ago. So what has to happen for it to get a season 3? Disney has to basically fund 2 more seasons?
I guess. And Disney doesn't have any money. I don't know. Maybe they're getting a big infusion of cash because of Inside Out.
Well, there we go. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, referring to Davies.
Yeah.
Disney is probably contracted for 2 seasons, but if it's not even charting on this Disney Plus, they can't sink more money into it, and BBC in 2 years won't have the television license. Yeah, Davies said he had to go to Disney, otherwise the show wouldn't have survived. So it couldn't even survive on the BBC anymore. That's why.
Well, nobody's paying their BBC license fees anymore since they don't have to.
Or just read the EU. Well, I've often said, just go back to the. You can go back to the old stuff. I'm watching old Doctor Who episodes right now on Tubi for free. You can also buy them on Blu-ray now.
Yep, so. I have everything up through Capaldi, and I'm done. Yeah, this one.
I was debating doing this, but I mean, it's entertainment related. I don't know if it's necessarily "quote unquote" geek culture related, but it's entertainment. It isn't. Related.
But I'll tell you something. This lawyer has balls of steel. We need more lawyers like this. We really do.
Why am I doing seconds? Okay, and
you have to do seconds, otherwise the hours don't register as hours. They register as minutes.
Right, and it'll be tucked at the beginning of it. Yeah. My timeline will probably be all messed up, but like I said, it's an experiment, and if this goes well, let's just do 56. Actually, I'll do 55. Here we go. Young Thug, which I spelled wrong. Young Thug. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
I invented a word. Okay, the Atlanta judge overseeing Young Thug's gang trial held the rapper's attorney in criminal contempt of court Monday, June 10th, for a bizarre episode centered on claims of a secret meeting between the judge, prosecutors, and a key witness. After attorney Brian Still argued that the so-called ex parte meeting involved the improper coercion of a sworn witness, Judge Ural Glanville repeatedly demanded that Still divulge who had informed him about a private meeting in his chambers. "If you don't tell me how you got this information, you and I are going to have problems." Still refused to do so, saying that it had been the meeting itself that was the problem. "You're not supposed to have communication with the witness who's been sworn," he told the judge.
That's exactly right.
During the meeting, Still said he had been told prosecutors and the judge had pressed the witness, Kenneth Copeland, to testify by saying he could be held in jail for an extended period of time if he did not. If that's true, what this is coercion, witness intimidation, Steele told Glanville, arguing that defense counsel should have been notified of a meeting involving a sworn witness and that it was grounds for a mistrial. This sounds like he's doing his job as the lawyer.
Yes, he absolutely is.
After Steele continued to refuse to share what he received the information, Glanville gave him an ultimatum. "I'm going to give you 5 minutes. If you don't tell me who it is, I'm going to put you in contempt." The judge said, "I don't need 5 minutes," Steele fired back. And he was escorted out of the courtroom into custody. Steele told the judge that Thug did not wish to proceed without his attorney present if you're taking away his right to counsel.
There's actually something that's even better that was skipped over there. The judge kept hammering him. Who told you? Who told you? He says, "I'm not going to tell you. I will not tell you. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to tell me." I don't need 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He said, "Who told you that there was an ex parte conversation?" He goes, "Why didn't you tell me, Judge?" And it was like, oh, mic drop, my gosh. That, as soon as he said that, every lawyer watching this, well, every lawyer that actually knows the law and isn't a dumbass, which, okay, maybe that's half the lawyers, was watching this and said, he is not going to do a minute of jail time because the appellate court's going to step in and spank that judge because he is, this footage is out there on Law and Crime.
Yep.
It's like everyone can see this. You have just done something illegal, Your Honor. Don't hold me in contempt for calling you out on breaking the law. In fact, if you share what I posted here, Viva Fry, David Freiheit he's one of the few lawyers worth his salt on the social medias. Shared that clip from Law and Crime and said, "This lawyer has balls of steel, good for him." I responded in quotes, "How did you get this confidential information I didn't want you to have that you were constitutionally entitled to?" In other words, that's what the judge is saying.
That was you commenting. Yes, I saw that. It's ridiculous. It's basically the judge was doing something that's against the law.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And it's
then
like,
and
the lawyer is calling him out on it in open court, as he should. I don't think enough lawyers have the balls to do this.
Okay. But he was wanting to know who spilled the beans too, which means he was probably planning to get. Now, I'm sure this was told in confidence, and he probably has a right to keep that confidence on this about what happened here.
Yeah. I'm not going to reveal my source. This source told me about something that never should have happened in the first place.
Yeah. But Steele said that if that release was not granted, he wanted to serve the weekend sentence alongside Thug, who's been in jail since he was May 2022. Now, I don't know about Thug's innocence or guilt, but that's what trials are for, and trials need to be fair.
Huge problem with arresting a lawyer and then not allowing your defendant access to his lawyer. You know? I mean, where else have we seen that in New York?
Well, yes, that's why I kind of thought you might find this interesting. And I thought what else might be interesting.
This is yet another public indictment of our judicial system, and we need to start addressing this. The legislature should be stepping in and doing something about it, and the higher courts should be doing something about this. Because let's face it, it's not the Constitution, it's not, in quotes, the law that makes these things work. It's our belief in the legal system that makes it work. And as soon as we realize how corrupt and bullshit it is, and how, despite how so many would say, nobody is above the law, bullshit. Lawyers are above the law, cops are above the law, all of the legislature is above the law. Don't tell me people are above the law. And former presidents, as long as they have a D after their name, they are above the law. But boy, you put an R after their name, let's indict the shit out of them.
Yeah. Congress tried to coerce Matt Taibbi into revealing a source. Remember that shit show a couple years ago?
Yeah.
And he's not even on the right. He's a reporter, but he was going where the facts led him. That was what got him into trouble.
And if you actually care at all about, being able to obtain sources in the future, you better protect them. Because they come to you in confidence and they say, I expect you to keep this in confidence. Oh, absolutely. My First Amendment, freedom of the press. I will not divulge where I got this information from. Heaven forbid you end up like, what's his name? Who's the WikiLeaks guy that they're trying to extradite?
WikiLeaks guy.
And again,
Julian Assange.
Julian Assange. He's a whistleblower. Forget the fact that we did illegal stuff. Go after him because he's outing us.
Arresting a lawyer is common occurrence down here. Oh, where you're from, Sashi. That's scary. Maybe I hope that's not a sign of things to come.
Yeah,
becoming more common over here. I did want to say that the judge should appoint him a new lawyer, and it could be the prosecution. Prosecution just be defense and prosecution.
Exactly right.
Say, yeah, he's guilty. I also believe he's guilty, and just go to the other side next to him.
Well, no, I mean, and there is no way.
We don't need the jury to convene. It's okay.
There is no way that this case doesn't get appealed. He's already cemented his grounds for appeal here.
Ridiculous. I'm telling you, it's scary out there, man. When you look at this stuff, I mean, I know nothing about this case of his guilt or innocence, but everyone
Yeah,
is entitled to a fair trial, and this is not fair. That's what I'm trying to get about here.
absolutely. Absolutely. Don't tell me that nobody is above the law, Judge, because apparently you are.
Yeah. So yeah, here we go, and that about wraps it up.
It absolutely does. Well, at least for our show. I'm hoping that everyone's going to come by and hang out over on Deleted Scenes in
Post the link. I'll
in
post
about an hour, almost exactly an hour now.
Yeah, 5 after midnight.
He's being very charitable again. He's invited a charity case like myself back to co-host. So I hope you will come hang out with us.
He invited me too.
Well, you know, that's the balancing act. You know, he figures, well, if I got to have that Troy guy, you know, at least let me elevate it a little bit with Netter.
Well, that's nice. Look at this, though. Look at that. Look, yeah, Other Side of Midnight. What are the topics going to be about tonight? Probably the Acolyte, right?
Well, I think we'll do more talking about a certain 51-year-old birthday today.
Oh, there we go. There we
host.
go. That's exactly why I comment on your policies, because you're headed down our path. It's scary out there. Just gonna say, really, elections matter.
Yeah.
Vote for the right people. Vote for the right people within your, well, never mind. Say within your party, but in some parties it doesn't matter because they just choose for you. Anyway,
that's true.
I'm sorry. Otherwise, we would have had Bernie running last time. But anyway, not that I wanted Bernie, but you know what I mean. Anyway, what am I talking about here? So what we got? So Other Side of Midnight tonight. Then tomorrow night, you're going to have a double. Are you going to do a double feature?
Yes, I am doing a double feature. So that is going to be a Father's Day special double feature. Mr. Mom from 1983 and Father's Day from 1997. That's Last Calls Monday night at the movies, starting at 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
Not the Astron 6 Father's Day.
No, not that one.
That's a funny movie, though. It's messed up, but it's funny.
It is very messed up.
I love Astron 6. I think they're no longer with us, but I think some of the guys formed another company and they're doing this stuff now. But what else? Tuesday will be...
Tuesday, the live from Sparkwood in 21. It's part 3 of our See You in 25 Years. And we are going to be watching the extended version of Fire Walk With Me, including the missing pieces. So that starts at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern.
See you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Yeah, exactly.
I always watch myself never to say that at work, okay? Even by accident, you know, someone's not going to be here till next Tuesday. I don't say see you next Tuesday.
Exactly.
It's not my birthday. It's Deleted Scenes. My birthday is a few weeks ago.
Yeah, but happy birthday to you too, I guess.
Okay, yes. I was on Troy's channel for kind of a birthday stream. We did a double feature of Phantasm and The Warriors. Great double feature.
Yep.
Because I think at that point I need to go back in time and pretend I was living in the 70s.
It was kind of nice to revisit both of those films. True.
Yes, we'll have to do that again sometime. Yeah.
Yep.
It'll be the big Fire Walk With Me though on Tuesday. Yep. Yeah. And then nothing on Wednesday this week. I do have to get. I have to find out I was supposed to do another gaming stream, but we'll see. I have to get never mind. I'll talk about it later. And then Thursday, what are we doing?
Thursday, over on Netter's Network, she will be interviewing former Playmate and daughter of founding member of the Temptations, Elon Carter.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
That's a very okay. Wow, that's okay. I have a question. If they're singing on the air, do you get flagged? I'm kidding.
Yeah, it's a good point. We'll have to be careful there.
But it's funny because it's the actual singer. So
right, exactly.
The group. Wow.
Exactly.
And then Friday
it's like Dad, your record company struck this interviewer here that was interviewing me. Can you reverse that, please? Thanks.
Friday, big deal stream as well. That's Men's Mental Health Month, which
It is
very
Men's
well
Mental
done.
Health Month with all the other, intersectional groups co-opting the month of June. I want people to remember that it is also Men's Mental Health Month. So for last call, my special guest and subject matter expert is Tony Roberts of Analog Toys. He has done a great deal of work in over in Australia for I'm not sure what the charity is. He'll have to remind us on Friday, but it's like the Australian version of Wounded Warriors Project. He's done a lot of work for them. He's done a seminar at his company about men's mental health and helping people through dark thoughts. I'll be a little bit more direct on Friday, but on someone else's stream, just read between the lines.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be very. I guess you'd call this a very special episode of
Yes,
Call.
it's like the old after school specials,
Right? Exactly.
But it'll be positive about what you can do too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I did want to also mention, though, I know that Big Al and Deleted Scenes have a movie watch party earlier in the day. I guess that would be like 7 Central, I think it is.
Yes.
It's Star Crash, the David Hasselhoff.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Star Wars knockoff. So make sure you tune into Big Al Presents.
Dude, there is a Smokey and the Style. Smokey, the robot in that talks like a Southern sheriff from Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh, that's awesome. It
has
so awesome.
What's her name in a bikini for the whole movie though, but that's nice.
Okay, that sounds good too.
I hate when I forget names of actresses, but I'm trying. And David Hasselhoff is in that. Did you know that?
Yes. I just said the David Hasselhoff Star Wars ripoff. Yes. Man, yeah, Curtis. Star Crash is going to be fun.
And it also has Christopher Plummer is in it too.
I know, crazy. Yeah.
As the Emperor of the known universe.
I'm starting to think that Christopher Plummer just likes doing sci-fi films.
I do want to say something. If you watch the trailer for Star Crash, you hear the Christopher Plummer as the Emperor saying, "A weapon so vast it would require an entire planet to conceal it." And then I'm thinking, that's Star Killer Base from Force Awakens, which means that J.J. Abrams ripped off Star Crash.
Exactly.
Who's ripping off who now?
Right. Exactly.
Carolyn Monroe. I don't know why I forgot her name. She's a nice-looking actress. She was in the Golden Voyage of Sinbad. Remember?
Oh yeah.
She's in plenty of Hammer movies. Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter. She was in that. Yes. She was put in the she was imprisoned for dancing on a Sunday. Remember?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm trying to think. That brings us to Saturday.
Netters Network Retro Cinema. We will be watching the 1978 made-for-TV Doctor Strange.
Did
you know there was a 1978 made-for-television Doctor Strange?
I did not. Are you going to have a Cosme link for that one?
I will have a Cosme link for that. I will.
We'll see. I don't know if I can make it, or I could always join you late, maybe. If I can't make it
you absolutely can.
I don't know. I'm very curious about this.
And if you can't make it, hit me up.
I'll just catch it later.
I'll find a way to hook you up. I'll bet it's out there on YouTube somewhere.
Oh
no, actually, I think it's on Tubi. To be honest with you, let me see. Doctor Strange. 1978. Oh, it doesn't say that it's on Cosme. I thought that it was. Darn it.
Well, don't worry about it. Anyway, I don't know if I'll be able to make it anyway, but that sounds.
That's
like
what I meant. Tubi.
Tubi.
It's not.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like a lot of fun. All right.
Wow.
But and that brings us back to Sunday, where I know Deleted Scenes does his Western cinema with Outlaw Bill. And at 7, he'll be doing his Unscripted, which I believe are his best movies of the year so far, right? That's going to be a special thing.
Right.
next Sunday. And then that leads us to Geeky Geezers again, where we'll be talking about the Inside Out 2 box office.
Yeah, which has apparently done very well, so we'll see if it's got any legs.
And we'll be talking about the Princess and the Frog theme ride at Disney World, which apparently has been getting a lot of not so good press lately. We're going to do a deep dive into it. I'm going to do some I'm going to find out what's going on with it. All right.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do Princess and the Frog for good old days, back when Disney still cared. All right. And that'll be it for this week. Y'all have a good one. And be sure to check out Deleted Scene stream later tonight. Troy will be there. All right.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone.